What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I am back to break down this 10-game NBA DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Going to give you guys the top place to get you in that green, winning money as always the goal on this channel. Quick reminder before I do, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please take a second to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell if you feel like I provide you with any value, some good picks, some good insights, which I promise you I will. Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Really does go a long way towards supporting me. And don't forget to stay tuned to the end of the video for my lock of the night. Last night, we absolutely killed it again. Going with PJ Washington. Was way underpriced with the injuries to Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball. Really liked the spot when he ended up with that fire emblem next to his name at the end of the night on DK. And I know he had a very good night over there on FanDuel as well. So looking to keep that going. Stay tuned to the end of the video for my lock of the night. And if you are getting very serious about NBA DFS, you can go ahead and check out my Patreon packages linked over here on Patreon. Link below in the description. You get access to my premium NBA projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play context stats, core plays, injury impact insights, and my NBA Discord chat access. And through all of the month of December, to give back to the community for supporting me, I'm going to be offering my Discord package, which is usually $10 a month at only a $1 rate. So you can hop in the Discord chat, ask me questions all the way up until lock throughout the night, throughout the day, whatever. And I am here to help. So if you're interested in that, check it out. And lastly, this video is brought to you by Parlay Play. Go ahead and check them out. Use promo code KJK003 to receive an instant match deposit up to $50 when you sign up today. You also receive 2 risk-free $5 entries right off the bat, so you can go ahead and build your bankroll. And speaking of the bankroll, an update on the KJK DFS Parlay Play Bankroll Challenge. Last night, we went 1 for 1 again on our picks, but with that being said, we've tripled our bankroll now. We are 2-2, and we've tripled our bankroll, which is saying something about the parlay play format. I'm really liking it. The fact that we can go 50-50 here, and we have tripled our bankroll is pretty awesome. So I kind of want to put this segment on the screen, continue along with you guys, give you my picks every day to just show, there's money to be had over here. They're giving free money away to open your account. All you have to do is create that account, use promo code KJK003, which you can use by just clicking that link below in the description. I'm also going to be commenting it and pinning it at the top of my videos. You instantly get that 2 risk-free $5 bets, guys. I haven't deposited, and look at, I have up to $30. I'm doing $5 entries every single night, giving you guys my picks on the screen. Tonight, I'm not going to be able to do a live stream, unfortunately, on Monday nights. I can't, so I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my picks right now. As far as today, to keep this going, keep building our bankroll. For today's picks, I am going to be going with Chris Paul and Derek White. So Chris Paul over 30.5 parlay points. Derek White over 23.5 parlay points. Like those 2 picks. Chris Paul's going to get a big bump up in usage with there being no Devin Booker in this one, so I like him. And Derek White's line, I think, is too low at 23.5. I've got him projected for over that. Right around 30, I do have him at a projection, so I like both of those guys. And I have Chris Paul projected over it, obviously, as well. Chris Paul more so right around 40 fantasy points for me tonight. So go ahead and lock those 2 picks in your parlay play tonight. Cash in on some winnings. And you can do that by heading on over here to Parlay Play. Like I said, use that link in the description. Pick the parlay points, pick Derek White, walk you through it real quick. Right? You go over, click that basketball icon. You're going to go to the selective game that you want to go to. So for this pick tonight, we're going to go to Suns Spurs. Click on that. Once we get there, we're going to click above the player's head where it says points. Change that to parlay points, which is similar to, fantasy points. Put it at 30.5. Click that over for Chris Paul. Go down to DeJounte Murray. Click on the little shuffle button on him to change it to Derek White. We're going to go above him. Click on points. Once again, we don't want real-life points. We want parlay points, which is essentially fantasy points. Click on that once again. Hit the over. Keep in mind, this is mobile-friendly. You can do this right on your phone. The 2 times picks is going to 3 extra entry. You can do 3 picks, 4 picks if you want to get a little bit more bolder. For this segment, I've been doing 2 picks. And then you go down to the bottom. Select your entry fee. We're going to be doing the $5 for the challenge and hit the place button next to the all-in 3 times payout. You get 3 times your entry. Looking to keep it rolling, guys. So go on over to Parlay Play. Use that promo code KJK003. Hit that link below in the description. Get your 2 risk-free bets and start building your bankroll today. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down the slate today, guys. Game-by-game breakdown as always. The first game on the slate, we have Philadelphia taking on Charlotte. We are waiting on some injury news. Tobias Harris is listed as questionable, but more so probable, I would say. He did participate in practice on Sunday. So I think he's going to be back in this one in a pretty good, fast, up-tempo game as far as the total in this game. This game right now comes in with a 218.5 over-under with a 6.5-point spread in favor of the Philadelphia 76ers. So I expect it to stay close, expect it to be a pretty fast-paced game. And for that reason, you could certainly have some interest in it. And most notably, obviously, on the Charlotte side, they continue to be out without LaMelo Ball. They continue to be without Terry Rozier. So it's going to be some great plays on this side in Gordon Hayward, Kelly Oubre, PJ Washington, really grading out as good plays. Specifically, PJ Washington and Kelly Oubre, they continue to be just way too cheap at 5'8 and 5'7 in the mid 5K range for their respective roles. Kelly Oubre's price tag fell from 6'1 to 5'8, making him an even easier play. PJ Washington stayed solid right at 5'7. He was my lock of the night last night at that price tag. Going to love it again. And I like Gordon Hayward a lot too. I like Miles Bridges a lot too. I mean, the entire Charlotte side just going to have a phenomenal amount of upside until these two guys return, because their usage is just going to be through the roof. And Miles Bridges' price tag dropped. So, yeah, I don't know what DraftKings was thinking, but these guys just became a lot easier to play. Like, my one counter argument to not playing Miles Bridges was that he was priced up compared to these other guys, even though his usage was going to be high. He went up there and put up 53 DraftKings points. Now he's down to 7-7, so he doesn't even have to put up 53, and he's still going to be a tremendous value. So, yeah, I don't know what DraftKings was thinking, but those four guys are going to be tremendous plays. And then, of course, you can be taking a hard look to Ish Smith as well, who also saw his price tag drop down to 3-4, who's going to continue to be in a large role. He was 4-8 on the last slate. Now he's 3-4. He becomes an even easier play. So, yeah, and then lastly, Cody Martin at 3-9, a guy that went up there and had a big game last night, and once again, his price tag dropped from 4-9 to 3-9. I don't know why. He's going to be pretty involved now with there being none of these guys. He got hot and actually played over Gordon Hayward down the stretch last night, which cost us in our parlay play pick. That's actually one thing I forgot to mention. A big reason why Gordon Hayward didn't hit, he missed by 3 points, was because Cody Martin got hot and they left him in the game down the stretch in the fourth quarter. So these guys are all going to be tremendous plays, and I like the Philadelphia side too. It's really going to be mainly the main candidates, obviously. Tobias Harris returning, Joel Embiid as well. In a tremendous matchup here, taking on a Charlotte team that's been terrible defensively all season long. Looking at my defensive half-court putbacks tool and my defensive transitions tool over here on Patreon, we can see that Charlotte ranks 24th in the league overall in points per possession rank, 27th in offensive rebound percentage allowed rank, and 27th in putbacks. So Joel Embiid in a tremendous spot tonight. Going to love him, and he's a great run back option if you're stacking up this Charlotte side, which I intend to do because they're just too cheap. So definitely a game I want to get any exposure to. Oklahoma City taking on the Detroit Pistons, the second game on the slate as far as the total in this game right now. This game comes in with a 206.5 over-under with a 5-point spread in favor of Detroit. Absolutely terrible fantasy environment. I'm going to have very limited interest in this one. The total is way low compared to the rest of the slate. The one thing we do have going for us is on the Oklahoma City side, there is no Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Josh Giddey is returning, so I guess you can make a case for him. Returning from an illness, though, so it's a matter of is he going to play a full allotment of minutes? I'm not too sure. We continue to certainly target Lou Dort and Robinson Earl. These other guys are going to get a lot of minutes on the Oklahoma City side. They should get a lot of usage and a lot of minutes. Lou Dort at 5'4", certainly reasonably priced and someone that I'd be willing to get some exposure to in your tournament laps. Wouldn't call you crazy at all if you want to go to him. Just keep in mind, like I said, this game is at a slow pace, so it's like, do we really want to go here all that much? I'm not too sure. Darius Bazley's only 4K. Lou Dort, like we were talking about right now, grades out as a pretty good play. Robinson Earl's only 4-1. He continues to see a lot of minutes. And then Isaiah Roby's down to 3-3. So, you know, you can make an argument for these guys based upon their price tag and their roles. Robinson Earl, 4-1. Darius Bazley, 4K. They're really cheap, so maybe they can get there, but it's kind of ugly. This game's really ugly. I don't think I'm really too interested in anyone on the Detroit side. I mean, you can make an case for Cade Cunningham, Jeremiah Grant. They continue to really carry the load. I just think they're pretty appropriately priced for the pace of this game and their role, mid to upper 7K range. If it was a faster paced game, I'd have a lot more interest. Sadiq Bey is only 5'2", so maybe he's someone you look to that has some upside at his price tag, but he's been very inconsistent. So overall, it's just a pretty terrible fantasy environment, one I'm not looking to target all too much. Washington taking on Indiana is going to be the next game on the slate as far as the total in this one. This game comes in right now with a 212 over-under with a 5.5-point spread in favor of the Indiana Pacers. So a decently paced game, nothing too crazy. The problem is with this one, both these teams kind of fully healthy now. Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma, Spencer Dinwiddie all going to be cutting into each other's usage. Spencer Dinwiddie has gotten a rest a few times on back-to-backs, and they are on a back-to-back tonight, so maybe he gets a rest. If that's the case, then obviously Bradley Beal, Kyle Kuzma would become phenomenal plays, so that's something to keep an eye on, I guess. But for the time being, no one really grading out is too good of a play to me. I'd say my favorite is Daniel Gafford, who continues to grade out pretty well in my projections, even though he's playing limited minutes. He's usually playing in the low to mid-20s. Last time, only 15 minutes. Not really sure why. But generally speaking, he's been playing quite a few minutes as far as 20 or 25 or so. And while that's limited, he's been able to get double-doubles pretty consistently from that playing time. So he's been grading out as a pretty good play, someone I've been willing to go to quite frequently. And with his minutes being cut, that's a little bit scary because he was already kind of limited in his minutes as is. So could we go there? Yeah, but overall, not too interested. And if I had to go to someone in this game, it would probably definitely be on the Indiana side of things. On the Indiana side of things, Karis LeVert's a guy that's been underpriced for quite some time and someone that we've been going to on both websites. 6-1 on DraftKings tonight. He's been underpriced on FanDuel as well. As far as over there on FanDuel, let's see if he's still underpriced. Pulling up my projections. If he's really popping off the page here. I don't quite think he's quite as cheap. He's 5-1 over there, so that's a 1,000-point discount. So he's a little bit more of an interesting play on FanDuel, I would say. But Malcolm Brogdon, Domantas Sabonis, certainly the number 1 and number 2 options on this Indiana side for usage. Not worried about the Washington defense, so if you want to pay up for those two, I do think that's very reasonable. But just keep in mind, they're going to be battling for usage. We have Brogdon, LeVert back, Miles Turner's healthy, Chris Duarte is getting some usage in the rotation, so it's just a little bit scary to be going there. TJ McConnell continues to be out, and Justin Holiday continues to be out as well. So, Brad Wanamaker could certainly see some more minutes in this rotation. You could also be possibly taking the looks to some Keelan Martin, Torrey Craig, but overall, am I getting really interested about that? Not really. They're kind of blended. You have Jeremy Lamb, Aaron Holiday. They can just kind of throw all these guys minutes, so yeah, this game, it's going to be Domantas Sabonis and Malcolm Brogdon, obviously the main candidates for upside on the Indiana side. And then Miles Turner is priced very reasonably at 5.9. He's certainly someone that you could be playing at his price tag. So he'd probably be my favorite from an upside at his price tag perspective in this one. That would be Miles Turner. Memphis taking on Miami. We are waiting on some Jimmy Butler news. He is listed as questionable with a tailbone injury. He's been sidelined the past 4 games. He hasn't even had a questionable diagnosis, though, so this is a pretty good sign for his return. If he is back, he gets the return against the Memphis squad that has been terrible defensively all season long. We've been really wanting to target them. They've been a pretty easy team to target. This game comes with a 215.5 over-under with a 5-point spread in favor of the Miami Heat, so it's expected to stay close, which is always good. So if Jimmy Butler does come back, he's going to be an absolute smash play at 9-4, taking on a Memphis team that, like I said, has not been good defensively. Looking at my defensive half-court and putbacks tool, looking at Memphis, they are dead last in the league, 30th overall in points per possession rank, 28th in half-court points per play rank allowed, 21st in putbacks, 23rd in offensive rebounding percentage, and just not doing good at anything across the board. And Jimmy Butler's going to be a usage beast if he does return. It wasn't an illness or anything. It was a tailbone injury, so he should be fully up to date as far as conditioning, I would tend to think. Nothing too crazy from an illness or something like that we've been dealing with across the league, so I'm going to like him. If he is indeed out, Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero are the 2 plays that you're certainly going to want to really be focusing in on. And with there being no Bam Adebayo, Dwayne Dedmon is going to continue to be a good play. DraftKings finally did price him up. Instead of $370, he's up to $5K, so they're making it a little bit more difficult on you to decide whether you want to play him. But the fact of the matter is he's taking on a Memphis squad that, once again, has been terrible on the offensive rebounds. They've been terrible overall. He only put up 29 DraftKings points last time out, which wouldn't be that great at a $5K price tag, but keep in mind, that game was a blowout. Didn't get much fourth quarter run. If he had, I'm sure he still would have got there at this price tag. So I do think that he's certainly still a viable play. Should continue to see a lot of minutes, a lot of usage, good fantasy point per minute producer. So Dwayne Dedmon certainly making sense. And then you can run it back on the Memphis side of things. Steven Adams at 4.8 saw some run last time out, 27 minutes, more run than we've seen out of him in quite some time. They might need his services taken on Dwayne Dedmon. Not really sure that Jaren Jackson Jr. can hang with a Dwayne Dedmon, so he might be a viable play again. But on the Memphis side, it's pretty obvious. It's Jaren Jackson Jr., it's Desmond Bane, it's Dillon Brooks, it's Tyus Jones. Those 4 guys are really going to dominate the minutes and usage, all 4 of which have had their turns in having big games. And it can certainly be the case again tonight against this Miami squad. They're a little negatively correlated. Tyus Jones specifically just continues to produce at a very high rate. He always has. He's the point guard. He gets the on-ball responsibilities. He's done rebounding, getting assists, scoring buckets, and he's still only priced in the mid-5K range. So I certainly think that Tyus Jones is a viable play, a very interesting one, and one that I would certainly be having some interest in on this slate tonight. So there's the breakdown of that one. Denver taking on Chicago is the next game on the slate. Nikola Jokic at 12K for a good reason with a 214 over-under with a 4.5-point spread in favor of the Denver Nuggets. This game should be a really fun one to watch and one that should stay close, which is automatically going to make me have a lot of interest in the Joker because that's really what it comes down to. Involved in a blowout last time, only put up 27 minutes in that game with 54 DraftKings points. Obviously, if he would have received more minutes, that could quickly turn into 70. And like I said, I do think this is a game that stays close and should be one that he's going to get a full allotment of minutes. And when he does, Nikola Jokic has a tremendous amount of upside. We know it, absolute fantasy point per minute beast, putting up 1.77 DK points per minute. That's leading the league this year. So Nikola Jokic is going to be a top priority for me in my lineups tonight. Worth the pay-up option, especially with all that value that we have in that Charlotte game that we talked about. They're just way too cheap. I think he's going to be pretty easy to get to over here on DraftKings. Certainly going to like Nikola Jokic a bunch. And the same rule is going to be applied for the other side, on the Chicago side. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine continue to kind of be the main usage guys on this side. 9-3 for DeMar DeRozan. As far as Zach LaVine's concerned, 9-5. Once again, with the game that's expected to stay close, I really do think that these guys could show some upside here. They have seen their price tags really increase here. Unfortunately, it would be nice to get them at those cheaper discounts, but you got to kind of roll with the punches there. Lonzo Ball at 7-6, Nikola Vucevic at 9-7, viable plays as well. I do tend to think that I will lean towards playing Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, though. As mentioned, I really think they're a nice duo. They've been taking on a lot of usage, and they're going to be my favorite options. Will Barton and Aaron Gordon are going to be your secondary options on the Denver side of things. There continues to be no Michael Porter Jr., so they're going to continue to be the main candidates for the secondary. There's no Jamal Murray, of course, so going to like them quite a bit. These secondary guys on the cheaper end of this game, I'm really not all too interested in. I think we can kind of focus in on the pay-up options in this one and find our value elsewhere. So that'd be my approach in this one. Cleveland taking on Milwaukee's next game. Giannis Antetokounmpo with a questionable tag. In this one, if he is out, it's going to be the Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Bobby Portis show. If he's in, pretty good play. As far as the total in this game overall, though, it's only a 213.5 over-under with a 7.5 point spread in favor of the Milwaukee Bucks. So a little concerned about the blowout. And if Giannis does return, I'm going to become even more concerned about the blowout. So that's just something to keep in mind there. A little bit scary going to him. You have Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, both going to be viable plays. Bobby Portis also, if there is indeed no Giannis Antetokounmpo, as I said, they become big priorities. If there is Giannis Antetokounmpo, these guys become easy fades because they're priced up now and in a slower pace game and one that's expected to blow out. And like I said, if Giannis is in, I expect to blow out even, there's far more likelihood that it does blow out because obviously Giannis is their best player. So on the Cleveland side, you're going to run it back with Jared Allen, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley. These guys really the big three on Cleveland, I guess you could say. The ones that are putting up the most production. Darius Garland, 50-plus points the last couple times out. Jared Allen continues to produce at a high rate. Evan Mobley's shown some upside games at times. Lauri Markkanen's also a pretty reasonable play at his respective price tag at only 5.7. He's been playing in the mid-30s minutes, so I think he's probably my favorite option from an upside at his price tag. Usage, he's kind of playing behind those guys, but the fact of the matter is he's just a lot cheaper. So, and the same rule can be said for Kevin Love. He's only playing like 20 minutes a game, but if he does get hot at only a 4.9 price tag, he could certainly get you there in a hurry. So those are the guys I'd be looking to in that game. Like I said, that Giannis news, obviously a big piece of news, so certainly keep your eyes on that one. Atlanta taking on Minnesota. The next game on the slate, Karl-Anthony Towns is questionable. D'Angelo Russell listed as questionable. Obviously, that is some very big news. If one or both of these guys are out, that's going to open up some big usage. If D'Angelo Russell's out, Malik Beasley is going to get a big bump up. Anthony Edwards would become one of the best plays on the slate. If one or both of these guys are out, he'll get a big bump up in usage. So certainly worth noting as far as a total in this game right now. This game comes in with a 219.5 over-under with a 1.5 point spread in favor of the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that's certainly some big news. Certainly be keeping your eyes on that one. That's going to impact your lineups quite a bit because they're going to become, if there is indeed, no Karl-Anthony Towns, no D'Angelo Russell, we could be looking to maybe a Naz Reid if there's no Karl-Anthony Towns. Malik Beasley would become a tremendous play. Naz Reid last time, 34 minutes in Karl-Anthony Towns' absence. He put up 30 DraftKings points. He was only 3-3. Now he's 4-1, so it becomes a little bit more difficult, but still going to like him a lot. Malik Beasley at 4-4 would become an absolute smash play if they're both out. And like I said, obviously, Anthony Edwards would become a top priority. If they're in, or if one of these guys are in, then both them and Anthony Edwards would become a good play. So, just keep your eyes on that news. On the Atlanta side of things, John Collins at 7-1, I think continues to grade out as a tremendous play. He put up 53 DraftKings points last night. I think he can keep that rolling. I do like that price tag quite a bit. And with Cam Reddish being out, Kevin Huerter, Danilo Gallinari, have certainly taken a step up in their usage in minutes, so they're going to become very good plays if indeed Cam Reddish continues to be out. I tend to think he's going to return this one. He's been out for so long. I feel like this is the game he finally returns, but if he's out, obviously, they're going to have solidified minutes. I still like Kevin Huerter quite a bit if he does return, but Danilo Gallinari, I think his minutes become a little bit threatened to become a little bit more split with Cam Reddish, so that'd be my approach there. And in a fast, up-tempo game with a close spread, Trae Young, 10-3, is certainly worth the pay-up option. 55 DraftKings points last time out. I certainly think he could have another upside game here with this game staying close and a pretty high total. So you could be looking at him. Clint Capella, much more interesting play if Karl-Anthony Towns is in, but honestly, his production's been way down. I'm a little bit scared to be playing up for Clint Capella. I think there's some other better center options on the slate tonight. And speaking of better center options, one of them might be DeAndre Ayton taking on this San Antonio Spurs team at only a 7-4 price tag. There is no Devin Booker. I think he's going to get a big bump up in usage. I do like him quite a bit as a play tonight at that 7-4 price tag. I certainly think he's interesting. I like Chris Paul a bunch. As mentioned, he is my overpick tonight on parlay play because there is no Devin Booker. He should get a big bump up in usage. And I certainly like him. So I'm going to go ahead and lock that pick in for the over 30.5 parlay points for Chris Paul tonight. I also do like him on DraftKings, certainly. I do like him on FanDuel. So Chris Paul is going to be a top priority for me in my lineups tonight. If you can fit it, which, like I said, I think you'll be able to pretty easily with the Charlotte value we talked about earlier. DeAndre Ayton, they're kind of the 1-2 punch on the San Antonio Spurs side. If you're paying up, DeJounte Murray, obviously the top candidate. He's been putting up mid-40s to 50-plus DraftKings points every time out. I also do like Derek White a lot in the mid-6K range. Talked about him being my parlay play challenge pick today as well. Over 23.5 parlay points. Love that pick. And you're looking at his price tag around the industry at only 6.5 on DraftKings. Certainly going to continue to play him. I think on FanDuel they hiked his price tag up, so you have to think about it a little bit more. Yeah, Derek White is 7.2 over here on FanDuel. So that's a little bit more difficult to be playing him over here. He's certainly still a viable play, but on DraftKings specifically, where he's only 6.5, really making a lot of sense to me in my lineups tonight, and someone that I would certainly be having some interest in as long as he's getting those minutes, as long as this game doesn't turn into a blowout. Keldon Johnson at 5.6 is the other intriguing option, especially if there continues to be no Vassell in this one. And if there is no Vassell and Bates Diop, another guy that kind of got a bump up, he graded out pretty well in my projections, and he had a big game last time out. It was Lonnie Walker at only 3.5. It's a guy that no one played. Unfortunately, I didn't get much exposure to him either, even though he graded out as a good play. I kind of bypassed that. I wasn't sure he was going to get those minutes, and he sure did. He played 30 minutes, so Lonnie Walker is going to be an interesting play. If you get Bates Diop out and Devin Vassell, certainly keep your eyes on that one. And then Doug McDermott's going to continue to get the starts for the Spurs. He's been somewhat limited on his minutes, though, so I'm not getting too excited. You can certainly make a case for Cameron Johnson and Cameron Payne as well, with there being no Devin Booker. These guys continue to see quite a bit of minutes, quite a bit of usage. They're kind of the risky tournament plays that could certainly pay off for you. So I like those guys. And those are the guys I'd be targeting in this game. You can play Jay Crowder at 4.5, but his minutes have been kind of all around. He played 31 last time out, finally. He's a viable play. But you could also play Mikal Bridges, who's been getting much more consistent run. His fantasy production hasn't really been following it up, though. So Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, certainly my favorite options. Orlando taking on the Golden State Warriors. This game's really not expected to stay close. Honestly, I have a really hard time seeing this one stay close. It's a 14.5-point spread in favor of Golden State. Orlando's been terrible offensively, terrible defensively. I just don't think this game's going to stay close. If it does, Stephen Curry is going to be an absolute smash play because Orlando's defense is terrible. I could see him putting up 70 DraftKings points if this game stays close. So he's certainly a viable play. It's just if you're going to be playing him, you probably want to be running it back with someone on the other side. A Cole Anthony, a Mo Bamba, a Franz Wagner, because they're obviously going to have big games to keep this game close. Golden State Warriors are the #1 defense in the league on my premium content over here as far as points per possession rank. They've been a really good team overall, just looking really good, and they're going to get Klay Thompson back certainly soon, hopefully. So Golden State Warriors are looking real good this year. Otto Porter Jr. is a guy that I certainly do have interest in. He's seen his minutes climb a lot, playing in the mid-20s to 30 minutes the last few games out, and the last time it was a blowout, so he didn't even get his full run. I think that Otto Porter Jr. is certainly a great play, especially considering even if it does turn to a blowout, I think he could get enough minutes to where he can pay off his price tag as compared to some of these pay-up options like a Steph Curry. Like, he's not going to get there if this game turns into a blowout. Draymond Green at 7.4 probably doesn't get you there if this game turns into a blowout. Jordan Poole at 6.2 and Andrew Wiggins at 6.5 are much more intriguing plays in the low to mid 6K range. I think they probably could get you there. And then on the Orlando side, obviously, you're going to be prioritizing Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter Jr. Mo Bamba in the mid 6K range, I think, could absolutely blow that price tag away. So he's certainly interesting if the game stays close. Wendell Carter Jr. at 6.9. Starting to get priced up a little bit too much for my liking, to be honest. If the game stays close, there's a chance he does have a big game and pays off that price tag. But I'd much rather play Mo Bamba at 6.4 than Wendell Carter at 6.9. And I'd much rather play Franz Wagner all the way down at 6K. And then if I'm paying up, just go to a Cole Anthony. So last game on the slate, we have the LA Clippers taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Damian Lillard continues to be out. Anthony Simmons continues to be out. That's going to make CJ McCollum a tremendous play at 9K. Hasn't had quite a big game because the Portland Trail Blazers have been terrible. They've been getting blown out every single game. This game is only a 3-point spread in favor of the LA Clippers, so hopefully it finally stays close. And if it does stay close, going to love CJ McCollum on the Portland Trail Blazers side. Going to love Paul George on the LA Clippers side. They're both going to be very heavy usage, on-ball dominant players in their respective spots. So they're going to be kind of the obvious candidates to be putting in my lineups tonight for me. And yeah, I mean, like I said, fairly obvious. They're going to get all the usage. Like them a lot. Yusuf Nurkic at 7-1. I think he's a little bit too priced up for my liking with the minutes he's been getting. He's playing like 20 minutes a game. It's probably going to be a no for me on that. Reggie Jackson, Dennis Smith Jr., both these starting point guards could be interesting options. Reggie Jackson at 6'2". Dennis Smith Jr. did see his price tag come all the way up to 5'3" after only being 3'4" last time, so it's a little bit more difficult to click on his name, but the fact of the matter is, very good fantasy point producer as far as what he's put up on a permanent basis on the season so far. Dennis Smith Jr. putting up 0.96 DK points per minute. Very good, and he played 37 minutes last time, so if he's going to play that allotment of minutes, even though he's 5'3", still going to be a viable play for me. Certainly still a good value, I would say. And the other guy that's certainly standing out as a good value is Norman Powell. Loved him in the spot last time. He really let us down in that blowout. He only played 28 minutes. He only put up 13 DraftKings points, though, and he continues to be priced way underpriced. I mean, I love this spot for Norman Powell. If he can just stay in the game, produce. He's dealing with a broken nose right now. Maybe that's affecting him. I don't think a broken nose is the end of the world for fantasy point production at a 5K price tag for a starter. Like, I tend to think Norman Powell can still get you there at this price tag. But just a little bit of a disclaimer there. He is dealing with some injury issues with that broken nose, but I think he should be good to go. I think it's a good spot to go back to the well on Norman Powell. He let us down last time out. Maybe his ownership's lower than it should be. Still going to be a great spot. Larry Nance Jr. at 37. Robert Covington at 36. Could be your punt plays in this one. Not getting too excited about them, but they certainly could get you there. And another guy that saw a bunch of usage and minutes last time, well, not a bunch, but enough for his price tag, is Cody Zeller. He saw 16 minutes, almost put up a double-double. If you want to go to him at 3-1, wouldn't call it crazy, but on such a huge slate, do we really want to go there? I don't really think so. And Nicholas Batum is listed as questionable, so certainly keep your eyes on that one because if he does return, that's going to impact some of the guys in the rotation, like a Marcus Morris Sr., like a Luke Kennard, like a Terrence Mann. Marcus Morris probably the one that's going to be most affected, and he's been playing like mid to low 30s the last couple times out. He's only 4'9", so he's certainly an intriguing play on this slate tonight. So that's my overall breakdown there. Just going to go over to FanDuel as always to wrap things up here. Make sure there's no pricing discrepancies for you that are playing on FanDuel. Making sure that we're giving you guys some good picks over here as well. Obviously, we talked about a lot of it. PJ Washington, Kelly Oubre, Gordon Hayward, those three guys continue to be too cheap over here. Norman Powell at 5'2", we just talked about him as well. Another guy that's really cheap on FanDuel. So those Hornets guys, Norman Powell going to be a good play over here. I certainly think Miles Bridges at 8'4", certainly still a viable play. Kyle Lowry, 6'7", especially if Jimmy Butler's continue to force out. Certainly grading out as a good play to me. Nikola Jokic, although he is 10'9", I don't care. I'm going to love him as a pay-up option at the center position, like I said. I just think that he's going to be in a great spot with this game staying close. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, both great spend-up options for us at the center position tonight. So I'd certainly like them. Kevin Huerter's only 4'6" over here on FanDuel, so you can continue to play him with those minutes, especially if there's no Cam Reddish. Will Barton, his price tag stands out over here as well. He's only 6'1" on FanDuel compared to over here on DraftKings. If you pull up Will Barton's price, he's priced up to 7'2". So I think Will Barton on FanDuel, you could certainly take advantage of that pricing difference over here on FanDuel. He's grading out as a good play to me. And yeah, that's a pretty good breakdown overall. Karis LeVert continues to be cheap. I talked about Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. They're both grading out as tremendous plays at 8.6 and 8.5 respectively over here on FanDuel. So there's guys that I would be taking a very hard look to. And then, of course, with that Timberwolves news, like I talked about, if one or both of those guys is out in DeAndre Russell and Karl-Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards becomes a tremendous play. I talked about liking CJ McCollum a lot, and he's certainly a good play over here on FanDuel as well. And, yeah, so, you know, a lot of the same plays, but a little bit of some pricing discrepancies. So that's who I'd be going to tonight. And then don't forget to check out your parlay play picks over here on Parlay Play. Locking that Chris Paul over 30.5. Locking the Derek White over 23.5. Continue to build that bankroll. Like I said, we have tripled our bankroll so far. Go ahead and use that link below in the description. I'm going to comment it as well. Use code KJK003. Lock in these picks over Chris Paul over 30.5 parlay points. Derek White over 23.5 parlay points. Continue to build on this bankroll. And let's triple our money over there again. And with that being said, guys, before I let you guys go, I got to give you my lock of the night. Let's get into it. And my lock of the night tonight is going to be Kelly Oubre for this Charlotte Hornets squad. Continuing to be short-handed, and the price tag just has not come up enough for him. I've got him projected to play in the mid-30s minutes, a guy that puts up 0.88 FanDuel points per minute. As far as DraftKings is concerned, he puts up 0.91 DK points per minute, and that production should increase with no Terry Rozier and no LaMelo Ball in this one. Looking at how he performed last time out, I'd expect some more of the same. And like I said, the price tag has not adjusted as far as his production. In the last game without Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball, he put up 39.75 DraftKings points. Had a great game over there on FanDuel as well. Played 39 minutes. This guy has a bunch of stamina, should be out there for a bunch of minutes. Good fantasy point producer, and his price tag hasn't adjusted. Got to get him in your lineups tonight. Lock him in because he is my lock of the night. So there you have it, guys. Kelly Oubre Jr. Get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a second to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be greatly appreciated. You can also follow me over on all my social media platforms. I post content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the above. And you can check out my premium packages. That's also linked below in the description. You get access to my premium projections, NBA data sheet, player stats, team stats, play contact stats, core plays, all that fun stuff. And you can join the Discord chat for only $1 all of December. Giving back to you guys during the holiday season. That's all for me, guys. Won't be able to live stream tonight on Monday because I have some other responsibilities on Monday. So unfortunately, I won't be able to live stream, but I'll be back tomorrow night with another live stream, hopefully. And yeah, going to be kind of a crazy week for me. So the live streams are going to be down, but I'm still going to be coming to you with this pre-recorded content. And we'll be back to the normal live streams hopefully after this week. Wish you all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.